God has amazing blessings that He is going to give you, but you got to make sure you're not getting in your own way. Today we're going to discuss 3 signs you're blocking God's blessings. My name is Stephan, aka Stephan Speaks, your dating, life, and relationship coach, here to provide you with insight and advice that's going to help you live a higher quality of life. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about 3 signs you're blocking God's blessings. But as always, before we get into that, be sure to like this video, share this video, and comment below. Tell me what you feel is a sign that someone is blocking their blessings, or you may have blocked your blessings one time. Now, a lot of people, or there's some people out there who feel like there's nothing you can do to block God's blessings, that whatever God has for you, He has for you. Now, I would love for that to be the case, but it's simply not. There's so many stories and so many scriptural texts that show individuals who essentially got in their own way or rejected the path God wanted them to walk that was going to set them up for great things. The reality is that we have free will. We have choices we have to make. And when we make the wrong choice, or when we choose to walk a path that essentially walks away from God, then we can't expect to receive what God had planned for us. So we do have to understand the role that we play in this process. And it's important that you embrace it, because though you will not be perfect, none of us are, you still want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward as best as you can. So let's get to it. 3 signs you're blocking God's blessings. Sign number 1, you're trying to lean on your understanding and not His. So here's the thing. I see a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, again, we've all been through it. I've been through it. It is normal. But I've seen a lot of people where you don't embrace what God's trying to set up in your life because it's not lining up with your logic. It's not making sense to you. It's not in agreement with what some other people have said they believe should be happening in your life right now. And so one thing I can tell you from personal experience, and I'm sure many of you can agree, a lot of times what God wants you to do isn't going to make any sense. A lot of times what He has planned is not going to be some simple puzzle you can put together and it's like, oh yeah, I see exactly where this is going. No, it's going to sometimes be confusing. And again, not confusing because God is confusing you, because He is not the author of confusion, but confusing to us because, again, it goes against what we think should be the case, or how we think things should play out, or what we think we should do. Again, we're leaning on our own understanding and not His. So we have to be very careful to think that logic has to be a part of this process, or what we find is logical to us. And understand that logic is simply limited knowledge, all right, and understanding based on what you've been taught or told throughout your life. So essentially, if someone has taught you your entire life that the sky is blue, then it'd be illogical to you if someone says the sky is actually green, because you've been taught differently. But that doesn't mean you're actually correct in some situations. What we've been taught, what we've been led to believe, is not always the case. So ultimately, you've got to keep an open mind when it comes to God. His blessings can come in ways we cannot imagine. They can require a process that we will not understand, all right? And not only will we not understand it, people around us won't understand it. Because that's one of the biggest deterrents or blockers of blessings, is people not only leaning on their own understanding, but leaning on other people's understanding. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with seeking counsel. There's nothing wrong with getting insight from people. But none of those people are God. None of those people have the final say so. Any of you who have read any of my books, you know I always say to you, pray about it. Take the information I'm giving you and go back to God. So even this video, as you watch it, I don't want you to just take my word. No, I want you to take what I'm telling you, go into prayer, talk to God, and see what God puts in your spirit. Because ultimately, you have to always go back to the source. That's how you ensure you stay on the right track and that people aren't deterring you, because many people have good intentions, but they're not God intentions. They're not driven by what God wanted them to say to you or do. Perfect example, I have to give this story real quick. I don't want to name any names, but coming up in this career, this purpose that I'm in right now, once upon a time, I was struggling a lot. And a family member of mine was saying, oh, you need to get a regular job or real job, so to speak. You know, this obviously isn't it because it's not working out for you or you're not making any money. You can't sustain your life with this. And I would explain to them that, listen, every time I pray about this, God is telling me don't go anywhere. Don't do anything different. Do not get a regular job. Stick with this. And so one day I said to them, I said, listen, how about, because I understand their intentions were good, all right? But I said, I want you to go pray and ask God what you should be saying to me about this situation. So they took me up on my offer. They went, and I want to say like a week later, we met back up. And I said, okay, did you pray? And they're like, yes. I said, well, what did God say to you? And they said, God told me I don't need to tell you anything. You already know what you need to do. All right. Now, the funny part about that is they interpreted it as, you know, you need to get a job, so I'm going to tell you anymore, rather than trusting that I was hearing God say to me, don't do anything different than I was doing. Now, fast forward, look where I'm at. Extremely successful, have been able to serve my purpose in a way that has helped a lot of people, and I know I did what God wanted me to do. But it's so easy to be swayed by other individuals and our own logic. So be careful with that. Again, always remember, lean on God's understanding, not your own, not other people. All right? Sign number 2, you're blocking God's blessing, is that you're praying to make a petition or a request. You are not praying to seek guidance and direction. So let me explain what I'm talking about here. Now, again, I am in no way saying you're not allowed to make your request known to God in prayer, all right? But a lot of times people say, I want God's will to be done in my life, but then they're trying to dictate to God what they want to happen in their life, and not realizing that that's a conflict of interest, because what you want may not be what you need. What you desire and how you see things may not be what God is trying to provide in your life. And understand that whatever you think you want, whatever you believe you need, is nowhere near as good as what God actually has for you. So when you go into prayer constantly focused on making your petition known, making your request, you're essentially not leaving room for God's will to be done in your life. Not leaving room for allowing Him to dictate to you what needs to happen. So what I encourage you and everyone to do is pray to seek guidance. Pray to ask God, what do I need to do next? How do you want me to handle this? What are you trying to provide? Again, He knows the desires of your heart. He knows what you really want deep inside, but He also knows what needs to happen first. And some of you, all of us have been there where we swear we're ready for something. We think it's time for that thing we've been hoping for, and we're not ready. And what we don't realize is if He gave it to us right then and there, we would mess it up. We would fumble the whole thing because we were not fully prepared to be able to handle the blessing, sustain it, and then grow it into something greater. So again, we've got to be mindful to not try to skip steps in the process. Now listen, I know that is not always easy. It is so much easier said than done. And the process can get tough. Listen, anyone who acts like or tells you walking with God is just a walk in the park, I don't think they've ever walked with Him then. All right? I'm not trying to judge or anything, but I'm telling you, I think we've all got stories where we're trying to listen to God. It can get rough, but it will lead to amazing, great things. All right. So we have to be mindful and make sure we are praying to seek guidance. And let me say this, for any of you who are saying, well, I've prayed, but I'm not hearing. One of the greatest ways to gain better clarity or to draw closer to God is to do a fast. All right. Now, listen, I'm not making this video about fasting today, so I'm not going to get deep into it for those of you who may not understand the whole dynamic of fasting. But I'm going to encourage you and urge you to do some research on it, to read up on it, to talk to people who have done fast. But I can tell you, as someone who has done various fasts, it has always been helpful in me gaining greater clarity, drawing closer to God, and really getting myself on the right track. Again, I'm not going to act like it's easy, all right? But Great things don't come easy. That's just the way our life is, you know, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to absolutely be worth it. So if you are struggling to hear God in prayer, and when I say hear God, I'm meaning hearing him in your spirit, that inner voice. All right. We all have it. It's there. You just got to get more in tune with it. And fasting will help with that. Number 3 sign you are blocking God's blessing is when you're walking in fear, not faith. Now listen, as I've said throughout this video, going through God's process, trying to listen to God, especially in the face of everything looking like the complete opposite, all right, is difficult. And it is very normal and natural for us to have moments of fear, moments of doubt, moments of concern. But the reality is that if we continue to dwell in that doubt, fear, and concern, then we are not going to be able to receive what God has for us, because what God has for us, his blessings, require faith. They require trusting God. And I want to stress, not trusting people, all right? Because people are fickle. People can go this way, that way. Anyone is capable of surprising you, or maybe even not surprising you, doing something shady. I mean, there's all kinds of variables when it comes to people. But the focus is trusting God, all right? That is a part of the process. So when you are, again, dwelling in fear, all right, you've got to really pull yourself out of that. You've got to address the deeper issues. Sometimes those fears are there because we have not healed from past disappointments. And yes, past disappointments can have happened with what we thought God was going to provide for us, and it didn't happen. And now we hold a level of resentment towards God, and we're not properly addressing that, all right? And it may come from we don't trust ourselves anymore. We don't trust that we're hearing God because, again, last time it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to work out. But as I mentioned earlier, we have to make sure, did we do it the way that he wanted us to do it? Did we seek his guidance? You know, did we lean on his understanding? When we do that, you can be rest assured that even when things don't play out the way that maybe you hoped, they will still play out for your good. So ultimately, you've got to learn to lean on faith or walk in faith if you're going to receive God's blessings. Anything else is going to take you off that path. So all in all, again, none of us are perfect. We've all struggled in these areas. And listen, I'll be the first one to say, I think we've all had a moment of blocking a blessing or two. I'm going to be real with you because, again, we're human. And I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. I don't want you to dwell it. I want you to learn from those things. Take heed to the message I'm giving you in this video. But again, as I mentioned earlier, talk to God about this video. Talk to God about what you need to be doing. If you have been doing some of the things that I mentioned that aren't in your best interest, like focusing on your own logic and just making your requests known to God, or letting the fear get the best of you, let's make corrections. Let's make those changes, because again, trust that God wants to give you amazing blessings. But also remember this, you are blessed. As you are right now, you are blessed. So if you want to receive greater in your life, or the greater that God has for you, learn to walk in a mindset of gratefulness, in a mindset of understanding there is an abundance in your life. It may not always seem like that, but when you really take a step back and evaluate what you have and what you have had and what you have the privilege of experiencing, know that you are blessed, but there is even greater to come. So again, I pray and hope this video was helpful to you. Be sure to leave a comment below on any other things that you think might cause someone to block their blessings, or just give me your feedback. As always, like this video, share this video, and be sure to watch the next one. Thank you.